hitting on the break. I want a nice clean break at all times. In the event that a knockdown, fighter go to the farthest neutral corner, you remain there until I signal to continue. Let's have a nice clean contest. Good luck to both of you. Touch them up. Touch gloves.
Those two shots you saw at the faces of the fighters told their own story. The burning eyes. 19th world title fight for Terry Norris. 2nd for Paul Vaden.
Stay back in your corner until I tell you to come out. Both of them.
They both want to win this one so very badly. Norris in the red trunks, Vaden in black. And those around the fight scene in San Diego, their tip seemed to be either Norris wins it early or maybe Vaden late, but Norris will certainly be favourite.
Yes, I think that's the way that I would see Norris going, looking for an early KO.
Very fast hands and excellent skills from Norris.
Stay off his neck. Nice clean fight.
I think in the days when they got on a little bit better, they did spar very briefly together.
Nice
Not on any significant level. Vaden really was just a novice in that era.
Stay off his foot. Nice and clean. Stay off the foot.
Vaden looking to make a very careful start, hands held high. He's just waiting for Norris to lead.
As for a grudge match, they certainly haven't charged out of the corners at each other. Professionalism has taken over.
Yes, I feel obviously they both respect each other, but Norris got through the first decent right hand there.
It's a good shot, wasn't it? Vaden found that one all right. So many attributes, Norris.
See Vaden keeping them hands very high. He obviously he's aware of the punch power of Norris.
Norris is a bit of a power puncher. He's fast, he's accurate, can be brilliant. Very good right to the body as well.
Watch your heads in there. Watch your heads.
I'm sure Vaden's people have taken the view that let's just get through this first 3 rounds and make sure we take this fight on into its later stages, which might be more of Vaden's territory.
Yes, but Norris already getting closer and closer, looking for that right hand over the top, just trying to find a way through Vaden's guard.
Norris, who has such a huge repertoire of shots, a lot of them, and they're hard too. But he can be hit and hurt himself.
Break out. All right. Let him go. Step out. Box, nice and clean.
Very, very cautious Vaden in this opening round. He's not done a lot.
No, he's done very little. It's Norris who's looking to land the punches.
And Norris will have won the round.
That's it. Nice and clean.
Welcome back. Don King is the promoter tonight and wants to make sure you know all about it. How could we fail? Mike Tyson there, you saw a clip of him. Don King banned from putting on the fight tonight in Atlantic City because the fraud charges are still hanging over him. But Philadelphia making a presumption of innocence, which is what they're calling this bill. Terry Norris in the red trunks, the WBC champion, taking off the IBF champion at this weight, light middle, Paul Vaden. Both titles on the line, unification match.
And it's been a quiet start, but you just get the feeling that there's going to be a few explosions in this fight. But Norris, he's the one who's looking to force it early on. Vaden doing very little indeed.
But I'm sure Vaden is boxing to a plan of his own, if it's only to try to soak it up and just get through the early phase of the fight.
Yes, he's still keeping his hands up well. I think he wants to see what Norris has got first. He just wants to have a little bit of luck, a little bit of a look at Norris, but he doesn't want to wait around too much. He's got to keep Norris off balance because Norris has firepower in them hands.
There's a big right that got through. Vaden just contorting his face a bit. He needs perhaps to get away from those ropes. Unless he's looking for the counter.
The strange tactics that Vaden is adopting in this round, just sitting on the ropes. He has an opportunity, I feel, to get out of there, but he's just trying to draw Norris in.
Good body shots as well from Norris, switching it from head to body. He's doing all the work early on here. Left hand catching Vaden around the top of the head. That can be quite disorientating, fighters will tell you.
Norris mixing it up well. Some good solid punches have gone in through the guard, and also he's slipping down well with that left hook to the body and the right hand there.
It's an uncomfortable beginning for Vaden, whether he's following his game plan or not. He doesn't want to keep on taking these punches. He might be blocking a few on the arms and gloves, but Norris is clever enough, he's seen this kind of thing before, to find the openings.
Yes, this is a very negative performance so far from Vaden. So I think he must be working to some sort of plan. He must have seen something that Norris maybe does wrong that he can bring out.
Good left to the body from Vaden. He needed to do something. There's that right again from Norris. He looks full of confidence, oozing it in fact. And he's won both rounds by a streak so far, Norris.
And to my family, I leave the sum of £9.99, so that they may enjoy dinner in my honour.
It can't be legal. The KFC family feast. 8 pieces of chicken, fries, barbecue beans, coleslaw, and a family dessert. All for just $9.99.
And the rest of my multi-million-pound fortune I leave to Elsie, my beloved cat.
KFC makes a meal a feast.
You gotta fake him or push him out with a jab and just...
Vaden cornerman, Davis Love, who was a reasonable middleweight himself, heading the team in there. But I don't know, he's an experienced fighter. He had 327 amateur bouts. He was very good. He's unbeaten as a pro, and he did this when he fought Petway and won the title. Vaden, he was very slow to begin with.
Yes, he's an intelligent fighter, so he'll have done his homework. So he's maybe found some weaknesses, something that he thinks he can exploit, some way of doing it. So I think that's why he's obviously following a fight plan.
There he is, quite prepared to back into those ropes again. When Simon Brown took Norris out and shocked everyone by knocking him out, he caught him with a counter off the ropes as Norris was coming in. So I don't know whether Vaden's seen that and thinks maybe there may be an answer or two for him in there.
Yes, but I think he's got to be a little bit careful when he does that. He's maybe just got to do a little more, just keep Norris off balance. Can't let Norris get too much confidence.
There's a Philadelphia referee in there in Rudy Battle. Good right to the body from Norris. Just a slip. Quite a few people slipping on that canvas tonight. I just wonder if it is not giving the best grip to the fighters.
Stay off the back of the head. Let's keep it clean. No grabbing on that head. Let's stay off it.
Vaden just coming off the ropes, just trying to do a little bit more, but at this moment he just looks a little bit stiff, a little bit tense. Norris seems to have loosened up a lot quicker.
Norris has been around the big time for a long time now. Vaden is comparatively new to it. mobile in this round. Just starting to come out of his shell a little bit now, Vaden, and probably needed to.
Yes, I think also the corner will have told him between rounds, stop doing that, it's not working, you're taking too many punches, start doing a little bit, keep Norris off balance, look for your counters while you're still moving.
Norris trying to work away to the body. Norris in his third reign as WBC light middleweight champion.
There's a little bit coming back from Vaden, but not that much. Just short little punches inside he landed with there, Vaden.
And the more hurtful shots look to be coming from Norris.
What is the matter?
Nothing. Just a bit of an...
What's that?
Let's go back into Paul Vaden's corner, hear what they're saying.
Come back with a hook, but then you step out away from him in an angle. Not back.
Well, not too much that we can decipher is the answer to that. Norris will be happy enough, I would think, Glenn.
Yes, I think everything is going his way. He's boxing well, he's nice and loose, he's looking for his punches and he's landing. And I think the first 3 rounds are certainly his.
Fourth round. But remember, we've already seen one world light middleweight title fight tonight that was turned completely on its head by one punch in the most dramatic fashion. Vaden hasn't won anything yet, but it's still comparatively early. This is the 4th. Vaden in the black trunks. Both fighters from the San Diego area. Don't forget, coming up, Mike Tyson in his second comeback fight against Buster Mathis Jr.
Vaden still, he has to loosen up a little bit more. He still looks pretty tense and upright. On the other hand, Norris, you see him just skipping about from foot to foot, looking very loose, looking for his punches.
Norris has got in with some particularly hurtful looking body shots. Hasn't quite developed into the thriller we thought it might beforehand, but there's time.
Vaden had a bit of success there with a little sharp left uppercut to stop Norris in his tracks momentarily.
Brilliant work from Norris. Left hook to the ribs, right cross to the head.
You can feel Norris growing in confidence here. Just doing more and more.
He's getting through. Vaden's a bit deceptive. You think he's in pain a lot. He contorts his face a lot of the time, but that, I think, is just his way. Landing 1 or 2 punches himself, though, with his backs to the ropes, Vaden. Maybe a reminder to Norris that he can't take too many liberties on the way in.
Still very, very negative in. He's got to do a little bit more on this to keep Norris off.
And all the time, he's falling behind significantly on the scorecards. And if that goes on much longer, it's going to be a very, very big problem to him. Unless he thinks he's going to stop Norris late on.
Well, he's not really noted as a big, big puncher, Vaden, so he's got to do a little bit more work.
Always get through there with 2 lefts and 2 rights, Norris, at the end of that round. And that was another round to Terry Norris. And Vaden here hasn't been on the floor, but that's the way to move. Norris is the boss in there, no doubting that at the moment.
But you stay
Yes, they've got to really try and get him motivated, get him to do something. He's got to be more positive in this fight. He's got to try and take it to Norris at some point. Norris there looks very, very cool. He's doing as he likes, following Vaden round the ring, giving him angles and coming in with good shots and getting Vaden on the ropes. We can see it here. I think he lands with shots there. Vaden just trying to counter back with pretty much arm punches coming back from Vaden.
Norris involved in those two incredible fights against Luis Santana, where Santana on 2 consecutive occasions was stretchered out of the ring as the winner of the fight, Norris having been disqualified. Norris got it right the 3rd time they met, and about time too. Round 5, Terry Norris, the WBC champion at light middleweight, in the red trunks, Paul Vaden in the black. Norris, on my scorecard, don't know about you, Glenn, I've given him everything.
Yes, I think you've got to. There hasn't been a great deal come back from Vaden. He's just looked for little counters on the ropes. And he's allowed himself to be pushed around this ring.
2 world light middleweight title fights on this bill tonight, and back at home, Chris Pyatt winning a controversial points win in a Commonwealth title fight at this weight. Some showboating from Norris now, just measuring Vaden for size.
Just sticking out that jab with very little power in it. And really Norris can just flick it out the way and go to work as he's doing here.
One looked a bit low, that left from Norris. He's trying to just work the body to slow Vaden down even more. Not that Vaden's been particularly elusive. He's trying to take punches on the gloves, but Norris is finding gaps.
Yes, Vaden, he is managing to keep his hands up pretty tight, but as you say, you can't stand on the ropes for that long without getting hit with some sort of punch.
Good left uppercut, wasn't
Yes, he was getting through with the better punches there.
Has to be said, so far, Vaden has been a disappointment. I suppose the only consolation for him is at least he has got through these first 4.5 rounds.
Yes, I think maybe he's planned it that way, just to tuck up and be, you know, don't do a great deal, just cover up in the beginning and then try and press on more. He's got to do something because he's falling behind now.
This is a big step up in class for him, though. Beating Vince Petway was a great win for him, but this is in another league again. Terry Norris, one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world.
Well, Vaden had said, Norris cannot outbox me. Well, he's doing a decent job of it here.
It's just quite hard to see what exactly is Vaden's plan laying against those ropes, because it hasn't worked for him. Welcome back live to Philadelphia. Still to come is Mike Tyson up against Buster Mathis Jr. with Frank Bruno among those at ringside. But Paul Vaden, the IBF light middleweight champion, looks at the moment as if he's in too deep with Terry Norris, the WBC champion, doesn't he?
Yes, he hasn't shown us anything at all, really. Norris has done exactly what he wants to do. He's pushed Vaden around the ring, and really Vaden hasn't come back with anything. Still looks a little bit tense. He's trying little arm punches on the ropes, but nothing really that you would feel is going to hurt Norris.
Vaden was saying before the fight, he can't outbox me. Want to bet?
Yes, I think it's time now. Vaden has to try something else.
Vaden also said that Norris's chin was weak and that he gets frustrated. Well, there's still time for Vaden to have the last word here. It has to be rightly said, there are not too many signs of him finding any kind of breakthrough in this fight. Not at the moment.
Get off it.
He's just coming off the ropes a little more in this round. I think he's got to try and take center ring. He's got to try and use that jab and step in behind that jab, get some strength, keep Norris off balance. He isn't able to do that at this point.
With the old showmanship again from Norris. Just trying to distract Vaden with the left hand and then maybe bring the right through.
Yes, Norris just showing the left hand there. Just to try and get Vaden to do something, just to make a mistake so he can slip in with the right hand.
Get off him. Fine, let him up. Stay off the back of the head. Keep it clean.
In Norris's corner between the rounds, they were saying, don't let him get set. That's the only way we can start to throw punches at you. And they were telling Norris, you're doing great so far. No arguments here.
Norris looks good, but I would have thought at this point he would have maybe pressed on to Vaden a little more. He's still himself keeping out of range, content on using the jab and just trying to push him against the ropes at times. I would have thought Norris would try to be a little bit more explosive at this point.
Good body shots again from Terry Norris. Vaden again looking to cover up on those ropes, and was he talking to Norris there? Looked like it.
I'm not sure if he was just sort of chewing on his jaws, if he took one in the face there, and at times his face shows signs of distress.
I think that's just a little mannerism of his that we mentioned earlier. He's been doing that really from the word go. He has his face contorted. So let's go back to London for a moment. Duke McKenzie is among our guests in the studio tonight. Multi-weight world champion. Duke, Vaden's been a bit of a disappointment here so far.
He's been a huge disappointment. I feel that he's not really trying to fight. He's throwing like punches like like don't hit me punches. Everything's like pity pat. And he's been terribly disappointing. I mean, Terry Norris has had it all his own way, and he's just looking better and better and stronger as the rounds go on. And now his confidence is actually starting to grow, and it's starting to flow. All these punches are going in, and I don't think it'll be too long before the referee intervenes and stops the fight.
Thanks, Duke. Duke McKenzie, back in London. He ended up with Glenn McCrory, and well, it was billed as a big grudge fight, and we thought it might be close and a thriller, but 6 rounds gone and 6 rounds to Norris on my card.
Yes, Vaden at this point has disappointed. I'm sure he's going to have a little bit more grit at some point, or he's just going to give his title away.
Norris, remember, in the red trunks from the Joe Sayatovic camp. They're called the First Fighter Squadron. And they're based at a place called the KO Corral.
Once again, just doing as he pleases, pretty much having like a sparring session. It just looks as if he's just trying to open Vaden up, just trying to get him to dip the hands a little bit before he starts landing some bombs.
There was talk a year or so back of Norris going to welterweight, or trying to get down to near welterweight and fighting Julio Cesar Chavez, but all that seemed to be out of the window. And of course, Chavez's big fight in 1996 will be against Oscar de la Hoya. So they say anyway. Well, Norris at the moment, really, it almost looks like he's taking the mickey out of Vaden a bit.
Yes, and the crowd are not liking this now. There's boos coming up from around the arena. I think neither man at this stage is really going for it or showing any devil in their work.
Yes, Norris himself seems to be just content to string this out a bit. It's almost as if he's trying to play some mind games with Vaden to just humiliate him a bit. Big right hand got through there, though. Vaden's face is beginning to look quite marked.
Yes, he's getting through more and more, especially with the jab. Now he's just starting to tee off on Vaden, trying to get through the jab. Just push them hands out of the way so he can land with that right hand. With the crowd not liking it.
It's been a lethargic performance from Vaden. It's almost been the performance of a man who might be tight at the weight. I don't know if he is. I've got no kind of intelligence on that. But he doesn't really look himself. He just hasn't been competitive in the fight at all. Norris hasn't let him.
No, he's done very little and having a bad round here, really. Just standing against the ropes, soaking it up from Norris. Surely at some point he's going to start throwing punches back.
Some blood around the mouth now as well of Vaden, who's starting to bear the scars of battle here. Tee-off time, really, for Norris, who hasn't got a mark on him. And there are boos around this Spectrum Arena in Philadelphia, and I think that is because a lot of people, what you'd call fight traders, people who go to the fights regularly, watch them regularly on TV, thought this was going to be a great fight, and we've got to be honest, it isn't turning out that way because it's just too one-sided.
Yes, it is. Norris, he's doing everything right, but really, it's a very negative performance from Vaden. And I think Norris is still a little bit wary that he's going to stick his chin out because he's not really rushing to get in there. He's content to stay at range and throw punches out the distance. Vaden, you see there, high guard, but there's a lot getting through it. The jab more and more was getting through it. And that's all we get back from Vaden, just that little, just picking with that little right hand.
Norris said at the press conferences before this fight that he wanted to beat Vaden slowly, not to knock him out, maybe to prolong the agony, which sounds very cruel. It's shades of Muhammad Ali and Ernie Terrell when Ali kept saying to him, "What's my name? What's my name?" Remember, Terrell had kept on calling him Cassius Clay still in the build-up. Paid a pretty heavy price for it, too. Not sure that's what Norris is about here, but he certainly hasn't gone on from the point where he'd established firm control of the fight.
No, well, he's in control and he's hitting Vaden with lots of jabs and right hands, but nothing really serious. Vaden has never been really hurt yet. So I think Norris he's coming in, but he's still just a little bit wary to really go for it. And he's just trying to wear Vaden down as much as he can before he goes to try and take him out.
Vaden did get through with one decent right hand, but a rare success for him. As an amateur, he was good enough to win a bronze medal at the Goodwill Games. He wore the USA vest all over the world and only lost 10 of 327. Vaden is a hard man with an artistic streak. He likes to read poetry and wants to be a singer later on in his life.
Again, this one is just all Norris, very little comeback from Vaden.
As they look like two fighters who don't belong in the same league.
I think maybe you summed it up earlier when you said he looks at this stage like a fighter who just isn't ready for this opportunity or not ready for this sort of fight, not quite in this level.
Yes, and the way he's approached it seems to me as well, Glenn, as if there wasn't a lot of belief really in his heart that he could win the fight.
Yes, he's certainly fighting with a lack of confidence. He just threw a left right there and he fell short by about 6 or 8 inches, so he's not keen to get close to Norris. Well,
we're back where we are, I think, with that other world light middleweight title fight. I think already, ridiculous to say in round 8, but I think Vaden needs a knockout to win it. I don't think he can win it on points from here. He's lost everything so far.
Really, Vaden needs to do a little more, and he's starting to stand and just trying to throw a few more punches, Vaden, but nothing really solid has come yet.
Norris bouncing around with great confidence like a rubber ball and then exploding the odd right hand. And they're still booing here. They don't like it.
No, I think with good reason. Norris is doing everything right. He could have a little more devil in his work. He could go for it a bit more, because there's very little coming back from Vaden at all. But I think that the boos will be for Vaden. This is a very uninspired performance. He's a world champion. You'd think he would seize this as an opportunity and go for it. But right from the very beginning, he's just been content to let Norris do as he pleases.
You gotta work every 3 minutes.
Get it out like that. Beautiful. He's got you freezing. He's got you doing everything he wants. You back him up, okay? Can you do that, Paul? You're knocking him on down. Don't let him go.
Well, they must be despairing a bit in that corner. One thing about Vaden, he's never been down in his career so far. Oldest of 9 children. Paul Vaden.
Yes, the corner obviously upset. They're trying to motivate Vaden. They're trying to get him to come forward and do something, but it's failing. He's got to start working harder. He's got to start throwing punches. That's the only chance he has.
It's almost exhibition stuff for Terry Norris. Crowd, by the way, in the Spectrum Arena is growing all the time. Don King did give away 2,000 tickets here. It was by no means a sellout to the underprivileged and disabled youngsters of Philadelphia.
Really, this is not the best of Norris displays. He just seems content to dance around, much like a sparring session. He's winning the fight well. He's won everything for me, but really he needs to go in more. I think he's letting himself down because he's not fighting the best fight he can.
Norris is 28 now, a year older than Vaden. He's been around at the top a fair old time.
All right, here I am. Let him go. Step out. Step out. Step back. Nice and clean.
You see the punches that Vaden's throwing, they're really just arm punches. He hasn't got the confidence to really go for them there.
Vaden has got to pick up the tempo somehow. It's got to the stage really where he's got to gamble. It's easy for us saying that on the safe side of the ropes, but he is in bad trouble on the scorecards here, to put it mildly.
Yes, he's just waited and waited, kept his hands up. A good one got through there from Terry Norris. If you would think Vaden would react when he was caught like that, but he doesn't. He just carries on waiting.
Just no fire about Vaden's performance, no inspiration. Looks like he's on flat batteries, doesn't he?
Yes, these were supposed to be two men who didn't like each other and had a grudge. They're certainly not showing that in the ring.
Well, Vaden's almost looked like a contender for the Nobel Peace Prize, hasn't he? That's what it looks like if you've got a seat towards the back of the arena here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Just opposite from here is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. It's nice and warm in here. It's freezing outside. There's been blizzards around the east coast of America this morning.
And that just showing Norris his movement, constantly moving the feet. But really, we'd all like to see a little bit more movement of the hands.
The dance master. Poor old Paul Vaden, marked up around the face. And he just has no answers at all here to Norris.
No, he looks well out of his depth at this point. Fighting like a man with no confidence whatsoever.
Heard about contenders for fights of the year and that kind of thing. This would certainly be a contender for flop of the year, I think. We do have Mike Tyson to come. That will be fascinating to watch because we've only seen 89 seconds of him so far. Buster Mathis is going to be, I think, an opponent. He's got a few skills, Mathis. He can't really punch, but he's a level up from Peter McNeely.
Big right hand went to the body there again. Norris just being able to do exactly as he wants, just trying to push the hands down. Vaden's kept the hands up quite well. Really fighting like a timid man.
It's not been a night really either so far when Norris has done too much for his reputation either.
I think a lot of people will be disappointed in Norris's performance. He could have, you would feel, done a lot more than this. Again, just skipping around the ring with very little coming from his hands.
I'm sure if he was listening to us, he would turn around and say, "What do you want? I've won every round."
Well, I think, he said he was going to put up a good performance. He said he didn't like Vaden. He said there's so many things in the press conference, but really he's not fighting with any of that sort of grit determination.
It's a bit better from Vaden. He really is a high-class technician, Norris. And it's fair to say he would outclass an awful lot of fighters. Most, in fact.
Well, he has outclassed some very big names. He's got some good names on his record. He is a top fighter. But I think we could have expected a little bit more from him in this performance. But then again, Vaden has been very, very defensive. It's hard to look good against a man who is just looking to survive and just looking to be, to keep his hands up and not do a lot. It takes two to have a fight.
I think Vaden was right when he said that he and Norris were from a different hemisphere, but not quite in the way he intended.
Yes, I think he could be right there.
Paul, you have any trouble with your hands?
Let's hear what Neville Brown, the British middleweight champion, watching these pictures back in London with the other chaps, is thinking of things. Neville.
Well, I think, like you and all the rest of them in the world watching this fight, disappointed. I gave Paul the benefit of the doubt. I thought he was probably bringing science into the ring. It's a bit of a grudge match. I thought he's bringing boxing skills. He's going to come on strong in the later rounds. But he hasn't done anything. I see nothing about him that's world class. Unless he's patience. I just don't understand it. It's a world class fight. He has not done anything. Terry's done everything right. He's done everything right. What can he do?
Second down. If you hit him on the body,
thanks, Neville.
don't look for an opening. Just keep moving.
We'll certainly echo those sentiments. I wonder what's going through Vaden's mind there. It's not a night that he's covered himself in glory. He had to dig very deep back in August to become IBF champion. That was a hard fight against Vincent Petway. I wonder too whether he's just found it hard to hit another emotional high again, in his next fight. Clutching the straws a bit, but
yes, it's very hard. He looked as if he was coming along so well. He's undefeated in 24 fights. And I think people were beginning to talk of him as doing good things. And this was a marvelous opportunity for him. But really, he's shown nothing like the sort of things that we talked about. He's got to, really, I think now he's got to find that super punch and bring something special out of the bag.
Norris looking in no danger here in a title fight, WBC title that he first won, knocking out John Mugabe in a round back in Tampa in 1990. So he's been at the top off and on with the odd hiccup along the way for getting on for 6 years now. And Vaden so far has hardly given him a moment's bother. He's pitching for the shutout, as they say over here.
Again, Norris it's been a good performance. As I said, it's difficult when a man hasn't come to fight. You know, he's been very defensive there, and Norris has had a few problems getting through, but he's winning very comfortably, and I suppose he thinks, well, you know, why should I go out? Why should I risk anything? If I can win it this easy, why not just do it?
Yes, because he's paid a heavy price in the past for carelessness with the disqualifications, notably.
That's right. So I think, you know, he probably just feels, well, I can win this fight relatively easy. Let's not take any chances.
He's just played the percentages a bit, hasn't he?
He has. I'd like to see him put a little bit more of a performance on for his fans and for the people that come here. Just show some of the skills, some of the firepower that he does possess.
Terry Norris here on his way to what looks like a gun-to-tape victory. Last 10 seconds of the 11th round. And I should think Vaden must be wishing it was the last. I bet he can't wait to get out of there now.
Well, the boos echo around this arena, and what you've got to justify it. It's been a very poor performance. They talked a very good fight. Norris, for his part, has tried to make a fight of it. He's done his bit, but Vaden has been a very big disappointment. And he looks like a fighter who doesn't want to fight.
And both Glenn and I, looking at our scorecards, they both read like this. First round, Norris. Second, Norris. Third, Norris. Fourth, Norris. Fifth, Norris. Sixth, Norris. Seventh, Norris. Eighth, Norris. Ninth, Norris. 10th, Norris. 11th, Norris. Can Vaden break that sequence in the 12th?
Second down. Just get that to him with a jab.
Well, we saw a sensation late on in that other world light middleweight title fight with Julio Cesar Vasquez dethroning Carl Daniels.
The difference there was Vasquez, for his part, even though he was getting widely outboxed, he was always trying, was always going for it, was always fighting like a fighter that was determined, that wanted to win. And he got his chance, where Vaden, for no point during this fight, has fought like a man who wants to win.
Norris now will probably just coast home in much the same vein. The Norris corner sent him out with these instructions: don't get careless, do nothing wrong. You can't blame him for that.
No, I think it's past the time to take any sort of chances now. It's the last round. He's won wildly. All he has to do is just do what he's done throughout this fight and just get another win under his belt. I'm sure Vaden after this fight is going to have to go back to the drawing board and really do a bit of search-soling as to what was wrong with him in this fight, because he's been a very, very big disappointment.
Yes, he's going to be asking himself all sorts of questions. There'll be a lot of regrets when he looks back on tonight, Vaden. Outboxed from beginning to end by terrible Terry Norris, and he's called that because he's terrible to face. Norris has not been in his highest gears here, but then again, he hasn't needed to be.
No, really, he's just coasted through this fight. It's been a very relaxed display. Good skills from Norris. He's opened up at times. And a good little point here. He's just starting to get on top of Vaden. Just landing a lot more punches than he has. He's just been content to skip around the ring, using the jab, the occasional right hand.
Last half minute. Looking very tired, Vaden there. He lost his balance, got caught with a clubbing right hand. But now I think that final bell will come to put him out of his agony, both physical and mental. He's done a bit more in this last round, but it's much too little and way too late. There goes the bell to end it. Everybody knows the result. You'd have to be wearing a blindfold not to know who'd won this one.
Yes, Nate, the crowd were more relieved than anybody to hear that final bell, because it was a very disappointing fight. But Norris, for his part, he boxed well. He did exactly what he had to do. He took no chances. A good performance. I think he promised more than he actually did. We thought it was going to be exciting, but really Vaden just wasn't ready for this sort of fight. Looked like he didn't want to win.
Well, he calls himself Paul the Ultimate Vaden. He was the ultimate letdown here. And I'll be amazed if any of the judges have got it anything different from 120 to 108 every round to Norris. Because if there was an even round even there, I'd be quite interested to know which one it was.
Yes, well, I certainly didn't see an even round. For Vaden did very little whatsoever. Very poor performance. I don't know. He fought like a man that had some big problems. Something was wrong mentally or physically. He didn't want to know in there.
Yes, it was almost strange how subdued Vaden was there. So we await the collation of the scorecards. If you're staying up back home, thank you very much for doing that and staying with us on Sky Sports tonight. Next up, it will be Mike Tyson. We thank you for your patience. We know it's a long night for you back at home. Just a question now of adding up the scorecards.
I'm sure they shouldn't have to puzzle about it that much. But on one side it read 10 all the way down, on the other side it read 9 all the way down on my card.
And mine. 3 judges: George Hill of Philadelphia, William James of Arizona, and Barbara Perez from New Jersey. The referee doesn't score, of course.
Vaden having a little smile, a little laugh there, I'm sure. From what I saw, he's got nothing to laugh about.
Well, I think the only way he could be smiling is that he's happy his ordeal is over. Has to be said, it was an ordeal for the crowd as well. And funnily enough, Norris and Vaden have still not even looked at each other. They certainly didn't embrace at the end. Did you notice that? Fighters nearly always embrace at the end, even if there's been bad feeling beforehand. Not here. So there's definitely something amiss between these two, and all we know is it's pretty personal. There are no further details, as they say on the news bulletins. So Jimmy Lennon Jr., son of a very famous MC of days gone by, still waiting to deliver his verdict. if I'm honest with you, I think probably what's happened here, this is going out live on American TV, and they're probably in an advertising break. This is probably what's happened.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Barbara Perez scores the bout 118-110. George Hill sees it 119-109. William James scores the bout 120-108 in favor of the winner of the unified WBC and IBF 154-pound World Championship, Terrible Terry Norris.
Well, there's a surprise.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? I think that was one where we didn't expect any of the judges to differ.
I could have been very, very surprised. I think one of the judges actually gave Vaden a round. I didn't see what it was. Norris is still the champion, and Tyson is next up.